I asked you guys to send in your best or most interesting photo from last year. Then I could check it out and maybe feature it in the next episode. Well, we're here now and I selected 10 photos from all entries, otherwise it would take way too long. But if you didn't make it into this episode, check your mail because I responded to everyone. Love doing this, it's a community thing. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. So, the rules were, you could send in one photo from last year, not two, not three, definitely not four, just one. Also, I would love to know what you shot it on and why you chose this photo. That way I can share it with the rest who are watching this episode. I picked 10 random entries with no specific order to make it fair, but also to have some variation. I'll also link everybody's Instagram in the description and next to the photo if you want to check it out. At least if they mentioned it in their mail, because some of them didn't. And that being said, the first photo is from, and here we go again with a beautiful but incredibly hard to pronounce name, Alexandra Jasinska. You took it in Hong Kong with the Nikon F50, a 50mm lens, and the film stock was Kodak Vision 3 250D. You also added a little story, which I'll read. I arrived in Hong Kong and was supposed to travel to China, Shenzhen, next day. I had a hotel booked in Kowloon that turned out to be the most disgusting place I've seen. After walking around in Kowloon neighborhood with a terrible jet lag and contemplating if I should just go to Shenzhen a day earlier, I took that picture and it's the only picture from the entire roll that is presentable. I ended up taking all my stuff and going to China 2 hours later. When it comes to film, I managed to get it out safely from Amsterdam airport without going through a scanner, but on security control from Hong Kong to China, they scanned it 2 or 3 times. I managed to find Shady Lab in Shenzhen, where they developed ENC2 processing, where I paid half of what I would have paid in the Netherlands. I'm very happy it turned out the way it did. This picture reminds me of my field trip to Hong Kong and makes me want to go back there and really explore it. Love your pictures and I think we actually might be neighbors. Wait, what? Well, first of all, sad to hear that Hong Kong wasn't really a great experience for you, but I guess it's worth visiting again and I should do that one day too. And the photo looks amazing. The first thing that comes to mind is that composition with those taxis. The red colors make it even more interesting and eye-catching. The timing where you cut off half the taxi in front is perfect and it leads the eye further into the image to the skyline, which just looked gorgeous. Even though it went through some scanners at the airport, I don't see any damage on the film. And I think that is because 250D might not be that sensitive to those scanners like maybe other films do. So that's great. I wish that yellow sign in the front wasn't there, but there's nothing you can do about it. Just a minor thing. Great work and of course thanks for sharing. The next one is from Michael Hanna Farag. He said, I took this photo in Madrid. It was winter, January night and I heard people laughing in a side alley. So I followed the sound and bam, I captured this woman finishing her shift with laughter. The camera is a Rolei XF35 and it was shot on Kodak Portra 400. Mike, it's amazing that you followed your instinct and got the shot. Behind every corner or sound there could be something special to capture. The timing of your photo really aligns with what you just said. I can almost hear them laughing through my screen. They were definitely having a lot of fun in that kitchen. At least that's what I think it is. What are they making and what is that yellow stuff pushed up against the glass? If anyone knows, let's hear it. So, great photo. The only thing that is bothering me is the little white spot that's just next to her mouth. I don't know what it is, could be a dust speck or reflection from the window. It's just in a place where I don't think it's pleasing to the image. Maybe you can remove it in Lightroom or something. But Mike, thanks for sending it in. The third one is a black and white image sent in by Benji Black, which is just an incredible name. You said, I've chosen this photo because it's just so clean. With the speed they were moving at, I managed to capture them perfectly. The guy in the middle sets the whole vibe of the photo just right. I shot this with my Leica M6 and Kodak Tri-X. This was the first ever photo I took with my M6. So, all in all, it definitely boosted my confidence with shooting film for sure. Well, Benji, if this is your first shot with the M6, you've got it all under control at the very start. A lot of people have issues with getting the focus right when they first pick up a rangefinder. Incredible shot. I also like that you have cropped it into a square format. A lot of people think that you shouldn't do that, but I'm definitely not one of them. Do whatever you want. Like you said, the guy in the middle sets the whole vibe. He looks into the camera where the other guys don't, and the light just hits his face. Perfect. Very nicely done, and also the choice to shoot this in black and white is just on point. Next up, another black and white one, and this one is from Simon Ingram. You said, "Hi Tips, hope you're doing well. Super excited for this upcoming episode. I love the last one. Thanks mate." The photo I've chosen was taken on my Nikon F3 using Kodak Tri-X. I took it last summer while up in the mountains of Zermatt, Switzerland, which is beautiful. What I like the most about this photo is how close I was able to get to the sheep and just love the slight diagonal. The slight diagonal line. Diagonal? Let's turn it back. What you said was, what I like most about this photo was how close I was able to get to the sheep and just love the slight diagonal line they form that spread out into the distance. It also serves as a nice little reminder for me of last year's summer, and I've even printed it out and hung it on the wall. Well, Simon, you've explained it very well, because I also think that composition with the diagonal line is just stunning. What I also like about the image is that those sheep are not facing you at all. Makes it a little bit more interesting. Also, the mountains in the back, the darker earth crossing through the image, and those white sheep just popping off is incredible. Love this shot. Nice work, Simon. And also that F3 is popular and a beast. Nice to take it with you on these kinds of hikes, I guess. And way to go by printing it out and hanging it up your wall. That's really something more people should do. Next one is from Corey Davies, who said in the email, "I chose this photo because I just really think it's pleasing to look at, and if I can get deep for a second, I would caption the photo. In a crowd of many, there's always one looking at you. I think it fits the picture perfectly. Shot on Kodak Ultramax with the Canon T50. I would definitely caption that picture with those words for sure. And there's nothing wrong with a little deepness. Love that indeed one flower is looking at you. And they also definitely pop from that bluish background. For sure, pleasing to look at. Wondering what those flowers are called because I really like them. They even have those thorns on the stem. Thanks for sending it in, Corey. Halfway there, already such good photos. I feel like we need to do this more often." The sixth photo is from Michael van den Berg. He said, "On a trip to Belgium, we managed to get into this old power plant. It was very exciting to walk around such an abandoned place and remember turning around and see this amazing light going through. Very proud of how this turned out. Shot on the Leica M Type 240 and a Voigtlander 35mm Nocton MC Classic. Looks like a great setup there, mate, and a nice shot too. The framing is on point and I feel like the light that's coming through those windows just adds a lot to it. Also, it's good to be proud of your own work. Sometimes I feel, and I also say this to myself, that we need to be more positive of our own work. It's easy to get lost in social media where you see all that amazing work from others. So good job on that, Michael. Although it's not my cup of tea per se, I do have a lot of respect for those urbex photographers and explorers. Standing there and taking that shot would have felt great, I think. Next up is the entry from Arsha Rayandra. Thanks for sending in your work. You said, this was shot with my Nikon F3 on Kodak Gold 200. Last time I submitted a photo, I told you that I'm moving to the Netherlands to study. I do remember that. The reason why I submitted this photo is because it's from the first roll of film that I shot since I arrived here. It was back in August 2023, before I realized how depressing the winter season could get here. Yeah, I know, winters can be very depressing here in the Netherlands. But when it's snowing, it can be lovely too. Sometimes. But there's no winter in the photo that you submitted. It's a lovely warm day where people love to visit the park and enjoy their day. Also, the flaring from the sun adds that extra dimension to it. I do wonder if the image would be a bit more interesting if you got a little bit closer. The tree on the right side doesn't really add a lot, in my opinion. On the other hand, it does create a nice stroke of light on the ground. So yeah, nevertheless, a great shot. Number 8 on the list is from Edward Vergara, and he wrote, "Hey Tips, I've been a big fan of your work and your YouTube content for a while now. Thanks mate. I especially love your shots in black and white using a wide angle lens. No better combo in my opinion. The photo was shot during my family trip to South Korea last month. I used my Contax G1 with a Biogon 28 loaded with Kodak T-Max. I chose this specific image because of the contrast and the lines all throughout the frame. The two subjects in the middle topped it off. Thank you for doing this once again for the community." Well Eddie, thanks for those kind words and for joining the episode. You've submitted such an amazing shot that I wished I would have taken myself. I really need to visit South Korea one day. I'm getting hungry while I think about it. What I like a lot about this image is that it's interesting throughout the whole frame. I also love the subjects in the middle who pop off in that contrast. I also wonder what they are doing. Probably gaming while just chilling there. But then I also love that you can look further into the image and you really get a sense of where they're at. Lovely shot. The only thing that I would maybe remove is the chair on the bottom. It's a little bit too light and it attracts a lot of attention. But if you're not about editing your work, don't bother of course. Thanks for showing us this photo Eddie. And next up is Chris the Groot. What is the Groot? Chris. Next up, Chris the Groot with an amazing shot. But you didn't add any information to the image, which is a shame because I would love to know where you took it and where you were heading to and why it looked like this. Because I really liked the composition, the bus just below the wing of the airplane, that one person just stepping up the ladder. Normally I would expect a lot more people when you have a scene like this. So great moment to capture. Also I like the line work in this image, the stripes on the ground, the wing of the airplane, and everything else just creates a nice flow. So nice work there Chris. And then we have the last one, but definitely not the least, and it's from Jay Delpecci, and you wrote, "Hola, this is my favorite photo from last year. It's my nephew. I picked this photo because it caught my heart the first time I saw the scan. It shows his personality, his love for life and laughter, and his innocence as a young boy. He is the funniest little guy and he has all of my heart. I had my focus all wrong in this photo, but for some reason it adds to the feeling. I'm curious to see your view on this photo. I shot this with my Nikon F3 on a 50mm 1.4 lens. Film stock I used is probably one you could guess, Ilford HP5 pushed 2 stops. Love your work and videos, have a great one." Thanks a lot for that, and as you know I love to capture my family as well, so this one is right up my alley. And also that Ilford HP5 pushed 2 stops just hits different, right? In this photo I also don't care that the focus is just a little bit off. It really does add something to it, makes it a little bit dreamy. And it's also very difficult to capture something like this on a 50mm with an aperture of 1.4. And he probably moved a lot too. What I also like about this one is, like you just described, you can really see the joy in his eyes with that twinkle of light while he's not looking directly at the camera. Capturing a moment like this is priceless, so yeah, good job. And with that last one, I would like to say thank you for everyone who joined this episode and this, how do you call this? Yeah, I'm gonna just call this a community thing. Again, if you didn't see your work, make sure that you check out your email. And let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to do this more often, or if you have any other ideas that involves our community. I'm feeling very blessed that I can share and do this with you guys. For now, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Peace!